Good morning, it's Jeanette, the Sunnyland Seller, and I'm going to talk about a kind of a controversial topic today. I hesitated on doing this video, but I figure as a reseller, I should be transparent and share the good, the bad, and the ugly so that we can all learn from it and talk about it and share our experiences, whether they're positive or negative. And this one involves the USPS. So stay tuned for the story. When I first started reselling, I was selling on eBay. I think I started that in 2016 or so. And, just here and there a little bit, nothing major. And then I did Facebook Marketplace. I started that maybe in 2018, and started selling more aggressively in 2019 when I lost my job. My career of 24 years, I was laid off at the newspaper. So I was on unemployment for 6 months and started reselling. I really enjoyed it, and it was mostly meetups. I would go down to big lots and meet in the parking lot or other places where there were a lot of people and it was safe. And I also did some door pickups. I did not want to deal with shipping because I was scared to. It seemed overwhelming and like too much work and too much money. So I probably just did the local sales on Marketplace, and that was kind of a pain because of the driving, the gas, and everyone wasting my time. Not everyone, but a lot of people did not keep their word. They would say, I will meet you at so-and-so at such and such time, and then they never showed up. So I'd be sitting there for 15, 20, 30 minutes and a no-show. That got really old really quick. So maybe after 6 to 9 months, sorry, my GoPro just turned off automatically for some reason. I think it overheats, which is a real drag since this thing costs $400. Anyways, I decided to try out shipping, and boy, am I glad I did. I love it because it takes out that factor of the no-shows and the time wasting. Somebody buys it, they pay for it, I ship it, and it's done. Bada bing, over with. So, I noticed that the USPS offered a service in which they will pick up the packages from your doorstep. You just have to schedule it ahead of time on their website. So I thought, that's awesome. I want to take advantage of this. So I started doing that. And I think the most packages I ever shipped out at once was 14. And I'm a very empathetic person and conscientious of other people. I always try to consider other people's feelings and what they're going through and what they have to do. I told my husband I think the mailman probably hates me because I had packages going out every other day, usually. And I'd put them up on my porch. And I was trying to think of a way to keep them protected from the weather because I do not have a screened-in porch. It's open. There's a little overhang over it, but rain and snow and wind can still get to my packages. And if they don't fit in my little mailbox, then what can I do? So initially I put them in a Walmart bag, but the mail carrier left the bag on the porch, so I thought they did not want that or like that idea. I actually worked at the post office for a couple of weeks, and I know that the mail carriers have these plastic totes with handles on the side. So if I was in that position, I would probably use that. If there were packages on a porch loose, I would take that up to the porch and put those in the bin. So I don't know if they don't have it available or what. Anyways, so whenever I can, if it's like a t-shirt, I'll put it in my mailbox to make it easier on them. The nearest post office to our house is a 10-mile round trip. And if you're going every day or every other day, that adds up as far as gas and time. You're waiting in line, and this was during COVID, so it was kind of a pain. So then I had my stepmom buy me one of those plastic containers that you put the pillows in from your patio. It's a seasonal container made of hard plastic, and it has a lid, and I'll show you that. I got it for Christmas last year, and the lid is on some hinges and just lifts up, and I thought, well, this will be great to keep my packages protected. And it's right against the house. Here is that container, and you just lift up the lid. Well, after a couple of weeks, I noticed that one of the hinges was broken, and also my mail carrier left the lid open after he would get out the packages, and it rained and it was full of water, and then it froze, so it was turned into ice. So I had to take it in, thaw it out, clean it all out, dry it, and then put it back outside. And as you can see here, some critters have been gnawing on it because I stored bird seed in it after I was no longer using it for packages, and I'll get to that reason a little bit later. So now I just put it in the garage, and probably going to store bird seed in it in the garage so the animals don't get to it, although they're trying to. So I left a note in my mailbox for my mail carrier, and I asked him to please close the lid on this bin because I just got it for Christmas and the hinge was already broken after a couple of weeks. And I also added in the note, if he had any issues with picking up packages, or we needed to talk about it, please let me know. I got no reply, no response. So I figured everything was kosher and good until I went out to take packages to him one day, because I saw him coming and there was a package sitting on my porch that kept blowing off the porch because of the wind. I was worried about it getting damaged or him not seeing it for pickup, so I just decided to walk it out to him to make things easier. And so our conversation got very interesting, to say the least. I said, "Hi, I just want to bring this package out to you since it's kind of heavy and it was blowing off the porch. We had really high winds that day." And when he saw me coming, the first thing I noticed is he started rolling his eyeballs, like he was disgusted. Not professional, and it made me not feel at ease, put it that way. So I handed him the package, and he turned off his truck and he said, "We need to come to a compromise." And I said, "Okay." And then he proceeded to tell me how he wanted everything done. It was not a compromise. It was just him telling me what to do. And he was venting about his job and how he only makes $31 an hour, and he's been at the post office for a long time, and things have changed and he doesn't like it. And he said that his job should only have to be opening and closing the mailbox door to get a package out. Well, times change. I can attest to this because I worked at the newspaper and the internet came out. And guess what happened? A lot of the print media went by the wayside, and I lost my job as a result of it. So when things change, you have to adapt or you become obsolete, basically. And it is not my fault that times have changed and a lot of people buy online, so there are more packages, which is really job security for mail carriers and UPS and FedEx, right? Now, I totally understand and empathize with people who work at any of these places because they do have a difficult job, and I feel sorry for them. They have to work in inclement weather, all seasons. They have to get up really early. They're on a time schedule. It's hot. They have open windows in their trucks, so I don't know if they have air conditioning or not. However, they do have a good paying government job with probably a pension. $31 an hour, that is a good paycheck in my opinion. I mean, that's way more than I make. It's, I don't know. When I hear that somebody makes $31 an hour, it's hard for me to feel sorry for them. But I still do. Anyways, he got out of his truck and he said, "Come back here and let me show you something." So he opened up the back truck lid or gate or whatever you call the thing that slides up, and it was full of packages, and he put mine in there, and mine was a medium to large size box, I'd say. And he said, "Now I have to get your package out a bunch of times to rearrange everything to deliver these other boxes." I'm sorry. So he's kind of, I think, talking to himself and trying to think of a solution and just saying it out loud to me. He's saying, well, maybe I can go to the gas station first and then come to your house last. You know, whatever works. I don't care as long as my package is getting picked up and it's getting delivered. That's all I care about. I don't care if they come here at 11 a.m. or 3 p.m. But then he said he did not want to have to walk up to my porch and pick up the packages because he didn't like the fact that they were in that container and he had to lift the lid and bend over to pick them up because it hurts his back. This guy is, I would guess, probably in his 30s, maybe early 40s, definitely younger than I am. And maybe he has back problems. I don't know. And I get that. It's strenuous, right? But again, that's not really on me. I don't know what to say about that. I am just utilizing a service that the USPS offers. And beyond that, it's not my responsibility. If someone has a bad back or whatever the case may be. So he made some suggestions. He said something about, why don't you put your packages out at the curb by your mailbox? And I said, I can't do that because people will think they're free and they'll steal them. And then he said, well, put them up on your porch, and if you're worried about porch pirates, just take them to the post office yourself. Well, I'm using the pickup service. I want them to pick them up because I work full-time and it's not convenient for me to go to the post office every day. And that defeats the purpose of me using the pickup that they offer as a matter of convenience. So his other idea was, well, just leave them loose on your porch. That's how I want them, just loose on your porch. And I said, well, what if they get wet? And he said, well, you're just going to have wet boxes. Okay, I don't like that idea. So when winter comes, I guess I'll be going to the post office and I will share that task with my husband because I don't want my boxes to get wet. It might ruin the product inside. And I'm going to show you the curb where my mailbox is up to my porch. It's not really that long of a walk. In fact, I figured that maybe a mail carrier would like to get out of the truck from time to time to stretch their legs. Buy a few mailboxes. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 steps to the porch. So all this time I'm trying to be really cool and nice, and I'm not arguing. I'm empathizing totally. We talked a little bit about music. I told him my husband was a musician because I noticed that he was wearing a t-shirt that had a band on it or something like that. And part that really got me is he told me the story of how when he came to pick up my packages one winter, and I had 8 packages, and he said one of them was kind of heavy, and he was carrying them across the yard, and he asked if I heard him, and I said no, because I was at work. He said that he started dropping the F-bomb and cussing, and he said, "I think I even kicked one of your packages across your yard." That's when I was just kind of flabbergasted and couldn't believe that he told me that. And I was dumbfounded. I didn't reply. I didn't know what to say back. I'm hoping that whatever that item was, it did not get broken. I did have a broken item, a music box, but I think that was before this all transpired. Anyway, I did not like to hear that. But I still didn't want to report him because I was afraid of retaliation. He takes care of my packages. Oh, and then one thing I did forget to tell you is that at Christmas time, I did give him a Christmas card with $25 in it as a tip and told him, "Thank you so much for all the work that you do. I really appreciate it." Well, apparently that goodwill gesture did not do any good. So I did not report him. I did post in the Facebook reseller group, I think it was the one that Kat runs, about the situation. And I had 118 comments, and I'll read you some of those. I have them in my email. This happened in March of this year, by the way, because I went back and looked it up on that Facebook group, and it's already September. So I waited this long to talk about it. And then my husband had some issues with the post office as well, and I'll talk about those as well when I get inside. Okay, I'm down in my cave in the basement, and I can read you some of these comments on my email about this post office incident. Had 188 comments. One person said, "I drive my packages to the post office, but not the post office in my town. I drive 2 towns over because I trust them, and their door is open 24 hours a day. They have a large drop box for packages inside. I live on a busy street and wouldn't trust even leaving my packages on my front porch. It's a sad world. Depends if I'm going out, I will drop off at post office. If I'm home and have packages that do not fit in my mailbox, then I put the flag up and my mailman knows to honk. I also give my mailman a very nice Christmas gift. Keep them happy if you want them to get your packages." Well, in my opinion, they should get the packages anyway because it's their job. "I usually will offer water, Gatorade to any delivery person. Remember, their job is difficult." Again, I don't disagree with that, but a lot of people have difficult jobs. Teachers, police officers, nurses, iron workers, factory workers, and so on and so on and so on. But they go to work every day and they do their job. It's whatever's in their job description, that's what they have to do because it's part of their job. Am I wrong? That's what they get paid for. "My dad was a postman and his routes treated him very well for 27 years. They have amazing requirements made of them these days, and their jobs are difficult, far more than they used to be, and has been expressed that there are some with very negative attitudes. We don't reward that." And I think she's talking about the negative mail carriers, that they do not reward their negative attitudes. "And in my opinion, if my postman is that unhappy to where he doesn't want to lift a lid or open a door and he's kicking my packages, maybe he should find a different job." Does that sound harsh, or do you agree or disagree? What are your thoughts or comments? Oh, because that's another thing he had said. I forgot about this. I asked if I could maybe put the packages in a bag inside my screen door, and he could just open the screen door and grab the packages that way so they could be protected from the weather. And he said he did not want to have to open a door. Somebody says, do you tip your waitress, mail lady, hairdresser? I do, plus my carrier. Yes, I do tip. The lady who cuts my hair, I tip waitresses. And like I said, I did give my mail carrier a $25 bonus at Christmas time. Let's see some other comments here. Unreliable mail carrier despite many complaints. Yes, the carrier should be doing her job, but she is not, and complaints all the way up the chain haven't helped. So I work trips to the post office and to my errands on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and sometimes more often. It's an understaffed post office, so often it's a 20-minute wait or longer, but I do what I gotta do to get them properly scanned and shipped. I also like UPS for larger, bulkier shipments. My husband and I did discuss that if we start taking them ourselves, we'll just go on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. However, I do pride myself on the fact that I'm a 2-day shipper and sometimes even a 1-day shipper. If someone orders something that night, I get it out the next morning. That's not always possible because sometimes I'm in bed when the order comes through. But it bothers me if someone buys something and I have to wait over a day before I take it to the post office. I want to get it out as soon as possible. Somebody else says, first of all, I would report him. You already cannot trust him, and I would videotape any pickups that he is requested to do. As for driving to the post office, keep a mileage log and use it as a tax write-off. I'm a night owl and I bring my packages to the post office during the night, scan them at the kiosk, and drop them in the slot usually. No traffic, no people, no lines. That's an excellent idea, and I did not think of that. If they do have that kind of a bin at my post office, then that gives me more flexibility. I don't have to just try to speed there after work before they close. My lady picks up and she is amazing. I leave her small gifts every month, and I love seeing and talking to her. Sounds like your guy needs a new job. My lady loves makeup and little trinkets, so that's what I do. Doesn't cost much and makes her so happy. I take mine, but I'm usually going to town anyway. My mail person is great about picking up my packages, but I only leave small, lightweight packages for them. Big, heavy, or mini, I take to the post office. I also use UPS, but I take to the store also. And let's see. My post office won't pick up. I had several conversations with the postmaster over it. First he said that wasn't their job. Then he said if they picked up for me, they would have to do it for everyone and there wouldn't be enough room in the truck. Fortunately, the post office is only about 2 blocks from my husband's business, so I just have him drop off my packages. That's another thing that I asked my mail carrier, if I was the only one who is shipping out packages, and he said I'm the one who ships out the most packages on his route. Oh, you need to talk to your postmaster about this. I had a problem with package pickup and that went away after I talked to mine. If your postmaster heard what he did, probably wouldn't be happy and it would be dealt with ASAP. Bro, go and tell the post office he said that. That's absolutely ridiculous and is a big reason why I dislike the majority of the people us resellers are forced to work with. They get paid for kicking our packages. We have to send out refunds and lose our money, another person said. So my regular mailman has 0 issues picking up the packages I put out, but we get along and are urban farmers, so we like to chit-chat for a short time. Whenever there's a stand-in postman, they don't pick up my packages, which is so frustrating. I've had chased them when they come across the street and they acted like me handing them packages was the worst thing ever. Oh, that reminds me of another time when I think I had scheduled a pickup and they didn't pick up my packages and I had to chase the mailman down the street. I had to get in my car and follow after him to give him the packages. This person continues, I really do think it's a regional personal preference thing on how they work. It would be awesome if there was a specific, you must do this streamlined etiquette to how their jobs are done. And there's a lot more comments. A lot of people did agree with me and said that that was awful, I should report it. One lady said that he was being lazy. Another person said he needs to do his job, etc., etc. So I had scheduled another pickup and they didn't pick them up. So my husband took them into the post office for me and talked to the postmaster about it. He was standing in line and he told me that the postmaster got defensive at first, but then was empathizing with him. And he said that some of the customers in line were actually kind of giving him a hard time and telling him, well, you can schedule your packages to be picked up. And he told them that we do that, but sometimes they don't seem to want to pick them up. Another time I scheduled packages to be picked up and they drove right on by, so I had to drive to the post office, and it was something that had to go out that night because it was like at the 3-day mark for some reason, and I usually don't wait that long, but there was some reason why that I can't remember. And I drove it up. I only had an hour to get to the post office before they closed, and I talked to the postmaster, and she was very nice, and she said sometimes their computers have glitches and they don't get the printout sheet that tells the mailman that there is a pickup. So then I understood that more, and now I can be totally understanding in that regard. And I told her what had happened. I told her that I'm a reseller and I have to get packages out on time, and she gave me her direct phone number and told me that if it happens again, call her and she will come and pick up the packages. I couldn't believe that. That is some awesome customer service right there. I was very happy to hear that. And there was one other time that I did have to call her, and I just said, did the mailman already go down my street by chance? And she said yes, they had a glitch in the system. She would try to send him back out, or she would drive to get them herself. And I told her that I didn't want her to have to do that. It could wait until the next day. But within a half an hour, my mailman was at my house picking up those packages. So I really do appreciate that effort and that customer support. I think that's awesome service. I hold no ill will towards the USPS or even my postman, because I do empathize with him. But I wanted to share this experience with you to see what you do, or if you have any other tips or suggestions for me. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you watching and listening. We'll see you next time.